I want to welcome everybody to the Save Your Skin and Zoe Insights webinar. My name is Shanil Pathak. I'm the co-founder of Zoe Insights. And just before I start, I want to let everybody know that we are recording this webinar in order to post it up for other people who are part of the organization to view it at a later date. And all of you would also be getting a recording as well. So just some housekeeping items. I'm hoping that everybody could hear me. If you can't, please let me know through the chat. And also, the format of this webinar is a bit of a storytelling, but by all means, please ask any questions you have. There is a question on Zoom. There's an area where you could post a question. I will not disclose a name, but I will just reiterate the question to people and then to then answer it. I'm also here with our teammates as well. And then they're also here to support us. So what I plan to do is kind of go through a bit about Zoe Insights, our journey through using data to influence my wife's experience with cancer and her journey. And then we're going to show you a demo of an application and how to set one up. Okay. Is there any questions before I start? No. Okay. And you should all be able to see my slide deck right now. Okay. So first off, maybe I'll talk a bit about Zoe Insights and what we're trying to do. We are trying to create a momentum, to build momentum for self-advocacy and patient and empowerment for people. And the way we do it is by data. So we want you to be able to have access and connected to the data, the resources, and the community for you to live your best possible life. Right? We're not a cancer app. We're not a disease app. It's really about how do you optimize your health. And it could be while you're going through a health crisis or a challenge, and it could be after that. The whole goal is to provide a tool such that you have all your information in one spot. You can share it with whomever you want to help you make better decisions and also help others. We offer Caregiver Access as part of the application. So I'll tell a bit about my journey and how Zoe Insights started. So in 2013, my wife was diagnosed with late-stage lung cancer. And before that, she was experiencing shoulder pain, no respiratory issues. She was 35 at the time, and she was dismissed. They thought it was muscular related. And as the pain increased significantly, we finally advocated and we got a MRI done. And then that MRI determined that it was something suspicious in the lungs, and which turned out to be lung cancer. And that's how our journey started. And one thing which my wife has done is she started recording all her information, looking at patterns, and that helped her make decisions on timing of medications. She was taking photos of rashes in her skin to present to her oncologist to help communicate better what she's going through. And that was the genesis for the platform. The other thing she did was to look for people around the world who were like her in terms of the same diagnosis. And that way she found a community. And that really helped her peace of mind, but also it allowed us to ask the right questions and really push the system to give us the treatment that we wanted based on what we heard and what we learned from others. And since then, I've become a patient advocate. And so my background is in computer engineering. And so Corey Capser and myself started Zoe Insights. And throughout this journey, we knew the power of data in your hands. He works in fintech and as a computer programmer. And so since then, I'm chairing a data working group. This is about talking and actually coming out with a charter for the rights to our own data from any health authority, and writing that position paper with a group of patient organizations, including Save Your Skin. We also have in Calgary, where we're based, we have the New Cancer Center. So I participate as a patient and family advisor. We also we have avid cyclists on our team, and we've to date a group of us have raised quite a bit of money for cancer research. So I'm going to start with the basics, the fundamentals. Why track your health, and what people are using. I then have a poll because I'm curious to know how you are tracking your health when it comes to your medical conditions. And I alluded to this story. So my wife, lung cancer prognosis for stage 4 is very bleak. She was given months to live, and we are furious about that because the oncologist didn't know who we are, didn't know what drive we had, and she lived over 4 years. And so then it came down to physicians asking us, well, what did we do? And that's part of the story of Zoe Insights, is that we started analyzing our own data. And so that has influenced collecting the data and analyzing the data and sharing it is kind of the mantra of Zoe Insights. And it was used to, extend her life, as also, most importantly, improve her quality of life. And so less than 2%, there's less than 2% survival rate with lung cancer. And we feel that she survived that long because of the methodology she used. This was typical of how we managed all our data. She would be tracking all her notes in a notebook, and a lot of it had to do with how she was feeling when she took certain medications and the response and the side effects of those medications. We had the infamous paper binder, very common. We started taking photos of a lot of information because that was easier to convey, photos and graphs. And so this was the basis of creating Zoe Insights. And we give you the ability to take photos of all your paper, digitize it and make a virtual binder. You could graph anything you think is important. And then you could create a report and provide it to your practitioners. And so there's been clinical studies showing the benefits of tracking your information. So this was done in the Cleveland Clinic in North Carolina, and they had 700 cancer patients track their symptoms, and that was it. Track your symptoms on a website, print it out, give it to your oncologist. And this is the results they found. They found that the quality of life improved, and there was a less need to go to the emergency ER. Because they were able to address their issues promptly. They didn't forget about their issues that they wanted to address, so they didn't delay addressing them to the next visit. And they were able to articulate their challenges that they're having in a more effective way. And so the whole concept of digital apps has expanded, especially recently in the last few years, and since with COVID. We grouped digital apps into 3 categories. The first are patient portals. And if you're in Alberta, you'll see we have My Health, but there's many portals across the country, and they're all hosted by the health authority. And they give you access to some of your data, not all. And so that's one thing to be aware of, is these portals, which basically you could log in and get your labs, maybe some immunization, your prescriptions information. They're only as good as the data that they have, and that's where the limitations are. And so what we found is the practice we followed is that no matter who we went to, we collected our data. And that's because we wanted the freedom to travel anywhere we want. And so we had it with us. And that's what, with Zoe Insights, it follows you rather than following the health authority. So, but it's still a good start to be able to collect your information and have access to it. It's just not as portable. You then have single purpose apps that you can download from the App Store. Those are often applications that are disease specific, and they reside in your phone. The challenge there is if you lose your phone, you lose the data. You cannot necessarily share it that easily. If you upgrade or you change your phone from an iPhone to an Android, then most likely your data is not transferable. So there's a lot of limitations to it. And the other thing, which when we started using them, because they're disease focused, they weren't health focused. They weren't about, the whole holistic view of your health and how do you improve it. They focused on diabetes or cancer. And so it was a very different path that they've taken. And then the third one is about apps which are similar to ours. There's Patients Like Me. There's Health Storyline. These are a couple of applications that are out there that are like us. And what you can do with these applications is that you could log into a website and view the information, or on your mobile. And then in terms of the capabilities, they do differ. The thing to be cautious about is a lot of those apps acquire your data and sell it, or they acquire data to give you advertisements. So at Analytics or Zoe Insights, we've taken a different approach. We do not sell your data. We do not share your personal data. It is subscription based. There's a free version of the app, which I'll show you. And then there's a premium version at $5 a month. And the whole philosophy there is we want to be transparent with our model, and also respect that it's a subscription-based methodology to sustain the platform, and not by my data. The times when your data is shared, it could be shared in a clinical trial, but then there's a whole consenting process for that. We have 2 clinical trials that are using our platform. So I talked a bit about what people were using. Typically it was paper, and that's how we started. There were a few apps which we tried, but I'm just curious to know with the group here, how many people track their data, and if they do, what they use. And we're just going to launch a poll right now, and we welcome your response, and we're going to share that results with everybody. Okay, so I think look at the poll. I'm going to launch the poll right now. You should be able to see the poll. I'm going to slide this over so you can see the results in real time. Just wait for a few more. Okay. I'm going to slide this over to the right, and then I'll share the poll once everybody's completed. Any more? Okay. Okay, I'm going to close the poll just shortly. Okay, so it's interesting. This is what I suspected. Paper and memory are the most common ways of keeping track of your health data. That's actually the most common, even in our research, is paper, memory. Patient portals is great. People are using it. And then people use, their desktop. I put there as a mobile app, but also there's a mobile phone. A lot of people just record information on notes and take photos. But yeah, so what we're hoping to do with Zoe Insights is for the people who are using the memory and paper, and in a variety of method of collecting your information and storing it is, is offering a tool to such that you could do it all in one location, and you could all store it here and share with whomever you want. And then the power comes in the analytics, and we'll show you how you could do that. Thank you. Okay, so a bit about Zoe Insights. And so what's unique of Zoe Insights is that it could be used by you for life anywhere in the world, and you can share your data. And the second thing is it's not just focused on your medical condition or your medical information. It's holistically. So you can put anything in there that you deem a therapy that you want to report. And of course, you can put anything, symptoms in there, any photos. It's really very flexible. And part of the why we create these webinars and the coaching is because, to be frank, because it's so powerful and flexible, it can be complicated to use. And that's one thing why we're having tutorials this webinar. We'd love to get your feedback as we demo the application and also afterwards, because we continuously want to improve the application. And the whole concept here is you can record your complete health history. And not only that, your caregiver could log in and they could record it on your behalf, because often it's often a caregiver that's with you, or adult children or parents that are looking to log in and see what the doctor says, see what the notes are, and they have full access to that. And then we talked a bit about how you'll be able to share your information with anyone who's important, that's important to you. So we give that flexibility with our solution. I'll go through the application, but these are some screen captures as a teaser to show you how it looks like. On the left, what you have is a quick record of a medication. It could be a medication, it could be a supplement, and just like, you just want to record you took it. You can start graphing your own information, right? And you can print this out and show it to your doctor. In the original slides I showed you, there was actually let me pull that up again. I want to show you what the power is of graphing. So this chart right here is her CA marker, tumor marker. So my wife's tumor marker, and it actually followed the progress with, as the cancer receded, the tumor markers receded. We see an uptick here. We went to the doctor and we told him, it's like, there's an uptick here. Should we be concerned? And the end result was he moved the CT scan earlier, and we detected progression far earlier than she had symptoms. And so this is where you could be more proactive. And because we had a lot more time, we had more peace of mind to look at what the options there are. She was still comfortable. She wasn't experiencing pain, but we had a lot more time to address the challenges ahead than it would be if we go through the classic model, which is wait till you have some new pain, then you get anxiety, you get fear, and then you worry. And so that was an example of how we used the graphs. And so this, I'll go a bit in the demo, but this is basically how the journal looks like, your virtual binder, as we call it. So before you go into your journal, the concept of the journal is to record how you're feeling today and onwards, right? And what you're doing. It's what's called prospective data. But saying that, it's much powerful is when you're able to use that, plus you collect all your information. So I want to talk about how you collect your information and the importance. So this is Alberta's perspective, what we did is we started collecting all our lab results, even diagnostic imaging, GP records. And the reason is we felt our physiotherapist, our naturopath, different allied, different care practitioners were looking for this information, right? So, but the problem is that they can't have access to it. right? Because of privacy. But there's nothing that blocks you from sharing your information with whomever you want. And so we would be sharing our lab results with the different practitioners and then diagnostic imaging. And hence why we started collecting all this information. You could just take a photo, put it into Zoe Insights. My records, my health records is the portal. But what we did was before we went to our appointment, we'd always ask the clerk to get a copy of the information. And we did that before seeing the doctor. And that's because the information would be ready for us when we left. And they were very happy to give it to us, and it didn't cost us any money. Diagnostic imaging, we kept that for second opinions, because what we found is when we wanted a second opinion, they wanted to see longitudinal data, which means they wanted to see from the beginning to now how it progressed, what you did. And so collecting these CDs were very valuable. And the trick here in Alberta is that if you do say it's for a second opinion, it's free. If you say you just want it, they do charge you. The GP records, it depends on the office, but for mine, I paid a flat fee, and then I get all my records when I need to. Right. I never asked for doctor's notes. They get a bit defensive of that, and I think that's because of it's their personal notes that they put in. But I also talked to physicians, and a lot of physicians have said that they don't read the doctor's notes of the other doctors. They look at the requisitions as well as the labs, and that's what we collected. ER discharge, and you can always get your complete health record from the, but I like to collect it incrementally. The ER discharge, I always collected that because we always got questioned by our oncologist about why were you in the ER? It's in their system, but they still ask us. And so by having that with us, we would put that into Zoe Insights. You could do a keyword search, you could find it, and then you could actually look for that information and present it. I do have two links here of two organizations I just put up here. It's AHS and Vancouver Coastal Health Authority, and that's for your consent to disclose information. So what we did is we would fill this out. I would have a copy of this on my phone, and I would have the authority to collect the information. And that just helped my wife. It just take on as much as you can, and this made it much easier because I always had that with me. So I was easily could just ask for that information. So what's the value of collecting your information? A key thing here is you could review your results on your own time. You could share it with maybe a family member who has a health background. And we talked about sharing with other practitioners. This is an example of a blood requisition, which was very frequent that we always had to do. And so by having a copy of it, if it got lost, we had it. That was one. But the more important thing was when we were out of town, we actually were in an ER, and they had to do blood work. But we asked them to do the blood work for the oncologist as well. The ER physician said, I have no record of it. I don't know what to do. So we just pulled this up on the phone. They did it right there. They knew this was legitimate. It saved my wife another poke. It saved me a trip to the labs, especially now with COVID. And it saved the system money. And all that it was is because I could pull this up very quickly on my phone. And that's what you could do with Zoe Insights. So you could all recall this all information very quickly. Now I'm going to just go into the product demo and show you the application, but I'm going to pause here to see if there's any questions. I know there's a comment here about there's a comment about going to the doctor's office and how often it's a reactive approach until you have pain and then they take action. And I completely resonate with that. And that's because it is very frustrating until you could prove to them that you have something that they cannot be dismissed, then they take action. Not all the time. but it's something to be aware of. And this is why you'd want to collect all the information and advocate for yourself. No questions. So I want to, when we were talking to Save Your Skin, and reading the information about melanoma and or skin cancer, one of the things which is it was highlighted is about physical self-monitoring on a monthly basis. Right now, part of that is that you could put it in as a routine. You could take photos of whatever of the skin changes, and you could upload that. You could put a document. You get it time stamped, and then now you have this history of photos, and it's part of your virtual binder. So what we'll show you is how the routines work. We call them routines, but they're templates where you just fill it out. You can have a reminder for once a month, and then you take the photo, and then that's it. So it's an example of how do you apply Zoe Insights to a person who's diagnosed or recovering from skin cancer. One thing which, before I do the demo, about security and privacy. So the application, I mean, both Corey and myself have a computer background, and the whole application was built with privacy and security from the start. Which means, from a privacy standpoint, we abide by PIPEDA. Your data is always encrypted, never sold. It always stays in Canada. It resides here. You have the right to delete your account at any time. And when you delete your account, all the data is deleted as well. It's just gone. This is designed in that way. And then, as mentioning from a security standpoint, all the data, when it's stored on the servers, are encrypted, and it's encrypted when it communicates to your phone or your desktop. And then none of the data stays on the device. And it's all about having a very secure, robust solution. The application itself can be used on a desktop or mobile, Android, iPhone. There's all three versions. So I'll just go a bit about the demo and about the capabilities. And I do want this to be interactive, so please ask any questions as we go through it. Because I think when we presented this, we did a similar webinar for kids cancer care. And we felt that it was very productive when people were commenting about certain scenarios. So like, what do I do? Can Zoe Insights help me in this scenario? So feel free to ask any questions. Okay. So I'm just going to slide this over here. So when you go to Zoe Insights, actually, I'll just show you what happens. You could register with Zoe Insights through our website, or through or you could download the app. But you from our website, you click on sign up for free. So while this is changing websites, there's a question here. Is Zoe Insights a good way to track health medical follow-ups after breast cancer surgery? Yes. So a lot of times it's basically a journal for you to record. You could use what's called a quick note to record the information with your oncologist, or if you want to take photos, and you could take photos any medications you're on. And what we found, this was a gentleman who had head and neck cancer. What he said, his experience was, when he was going through his surgery and treatment, it was like drinking out of a fire hose. I think many of us could see that, understand that experience. But I think it was like 10 years later that he said, I wish I had the information, because it was 10 years later that he started getting the side effects of that treatment. And he didn't know who he went to. Sometimes he forgot some of the procedures they did or the drugs they did. And so he couldn't recall that information because he didn't have it in hand, right? And this is the difference between a patient portal and us. And so what he felt the value of those Zoe Insights is that after you've done your medical follow-ups and let's say you're done, you're good. If there's a challenge you have, you can always recall that information. So this is the setup page or registration page. We talk a bit about the capabilities. Front and center, if you want to learn about a privacy matter, what privacy is, it's in English. It's very simple, and you could read the whole privacy here. But we talk about how none of your personal information is given to third parties, right? I'm just going to go back to the same page. So from sign up, I already created an account, so I'm just going to log in. And here it is. Now, when you log in, this is a completed application, but I want to show you what you'll see when you first log in, right? And what you'll get is, actually, let me go over here, is that you'll get a video explaining a bit about Zoe Insights, and then you could start going through the wizard to set it up. And you could set up your profile. All this information is optional. It's meant to allow you to put in information on, for reporting, for your reports you want to give to the doctor. And so then you put your medical condition in here. And then you could put anything in here. So, I mean, I could put in breast cancer, and it actually, you could put in the stage that you have. You could put skin cancer if you want as well. And so you could put the list, anything you want, diabetes. So we have a list, and we're growing this list of information for you. So this all comes a part of your profile. You say save and next. You could put in your medications here. And this is very simple. You could put in a DIN number, but it actually looks up in Health Canada about your medications. You can do this here or later, right? And you just save it. You can also put your symptoms. These are suggested symptoms you want to think about. And what we designed is that you just delete the ones you don't want, the ones that you don't want to track. So or you could add anything you want here, right? It could be itchiness, right? You could either select that you want to track it as yes or no, as explained here, or on a scale from 0 to 10. You could put in your health data that you want to track. You could add to it, you could delete it. And then the next thing you do is you create a routine. And so I'll go in a bit about what routines are. I'm just going to cancel out of this. This is how you create a routine. And but basically, what your routine is a template. And so let's say you're doing your medical follow-ups every month, and for that, actually that's not a good example. Let's say you're taking a medication once a month, or you're doing your test, your physical test about your skin and your moles, and you put that in as a routine. That the action that you want to do is track your do a tracking, look and inspect your skin, and then you put photos, etc. So this creates a routine for you to do that, so you know exactly what you have to do every month, and it helps you with compliance. I'll show you a completed routine. So this is the monthly self-monitoring which I was describing. And so this is a routine here, and you could say if you've seen any new moles, new growth, changes in color, or other concerns. If you want, you could add a photo here. You can upload a photo or take it if you're on a mobile, and you just save that information. And as you can see here, it just recorded it. This is like an Outlook view of your journal, and your monthly self-monitoring is recorded here for November 4th, and here's your results. Okay. So we go back to the dashboard, but I wanted to show you, I'm just going to hide the routine wizard, is how the dashboard looks like. So once you set up your routine, you have this dashboard here, and the dashboard allows you to graph any information you want. So here is about swelling in arms and legs, and every time you complete this information, let's say it'll add to the graph, so you can actually see this in real time. So if you want to monitor anything, you could do a quick note, right? It could be doctor's visit, and suggest, I don't know, just a note, right? And it may not be the doctor. It might be you have a conversation with a family member, and you just want to, just put a quick note in there. And here it just says as a doctor's visit. If you want, you could add a question, right? So again, sometimes it's in the conversation you realize, oh wait, I need to ask my doctor this question, and so you could easily ask the doctor for the cream. You just save it to a new journal and just get saved, right? And there it is. So that's your question right there, and then you could come back to it and you could add any comments to it, and you could answer that question. So the journals are the full journal. So this is something, if you want to record a medication or activity or symptom, you can just add it right here. For example, I'm recording a new symptom, and it could be tiredness, right? So I'm going to put tiredness in there. Today I felt not so good. It's a new journal. You just save it. Okay, so as you can see, you could add all this information in here, and then you could even do your morning routines. This section here is about adding or taking any medication. So it's not just about what you're prescribed, it's what you've been taking. So for example, I've taken an Advil caplets just today to help me with my pain. So I'm just going to record that, because sometimes they might ask, well, what are you doing for pain management? Right. And what's your dosage of morphine or other medications? So by recording every time you're taking it, you actually have a recorded history of it. So that's that's the dashboard. The dashboard allows you to view the information as a graph, to quickly enter information, enter a routine, or your medications. And now what I'll do is I'll kind of go through the left tab a bit, and then I'm going to open up for questions. But as we talked about your questions here, so your tasks. So here's a list of all your questions and your monthly monitoring. Any questions you have. So this is a whole list here. You can do a keyword search, and the whole concept here is that it's one place where all your questions that you've want to ask your doctor, but you haven't been there. And so instead of keeping in memory, you can keep it here. This is your journal where you actually do a keyword search. And so let's say you want to know every time you've taken a medication, it's prednisone. And so you just do a keyword search, and it actually comes up with every journal entry you have every time you've taken it. So if you want any questions or you want to review that information, you can. And if let's say you want to mark this as a favorite, you go to the favorites, it's right there, right? So you could actually, any journal entries that you deem important to you, you could log as a favorite. We talked about your graphing. You saw the 2-week graph. This actually could be downloaded as a PDF, and you could create a graph for any of your therapies you want, right? And add to it. So here, for example, if I, right, so this is the full view of your graph. You could download it, present it to your doctor, say, you know, this is what I'm tracking. I'm just going to look at it. There's another question here. So the question is a good question. The question is that, can the app be able to link or identify trends between symptoms and specific activities, like supplements or medication? So the application itself does not show you trends, but it shows you the data in order to find the trend. And the reason is, if we start trending, we're considered we're giving medical advice. If we have to be very careful. And this is why what we do is we give you the tools to analyze your own data and find the trends that you're looking for. So the example here was about, let's say you're taking a supplement and you want to see your energy or the new medication is an issue. Yes, you could do that. What you do, basically, I could always go in here and say, I'm going to create a new graph, and it's just going to be supplements versus med, right? I put in any of the therapy I want. Let's say, you know, my supplements here, but let's say it says supplement, it's actually physical exercise. So I'm tracking physical exercise as that's my therapy, and versus pain, right? And it could end swelling in my arms and legs, right? And I just save that. You actually, if you had, you have data here, so you actually could see that data appearing here. So if I take the pain away, it'll disappear. All right, so now you could actually play with your data and start analyzing it. You could save this graph, and then once it's saved, you could always recall it and look at it. And then once you're done that, you can just download the graph itself. Right. It gets saved. Oh, it got downloaded. So I just want to show you the PDF of how it looks like. This is an example of the graph. And this is something that you could download, share it, email it to whomever you think is important. You put your contacts in here, and just as a list or a place where you could keep all your contacts information in here. You could have a caregiver access, so I could actually grant anybody access. So I'll just put in, myself, right? I'm going to give them permission to read or full access, and I just say I'm going to invite the caregiver. And what happens there is that now, once I accept it, I could log in and view the journal with caregiver access. This is a list of all your meds that you have. And you can always pause your meds if you want to, in case you're having a treatment, and you can pause it for a certain number of days, or you could even stop it if you want. If I just stopped it, it just turns gray. So you know the list of your active medications and the ones that are paused. These are your list of your routines we talked about that you created it. A list of all your symptoms, right? So it's very easy to look for those. This is all the health data you're tracking. And this is your virtual binder. So we talked about self-checks. And so you could actually start taking photos, and it's all logged in here. and it's recorded with a date stamp. And so sometimes it's much easier to communicate significant issues by photos over time. Right, so you have your all your attachments in here. The reports, which allows you to create a report and email it to your doctor, is it basically allows you to create a report, and it shows any of the symptoms or questions or activities you've taken in the last 3 months. You could generate a report and present that to your doctor. And so rather than using your memory, you could use Zoe Insights. So the question is, can you automatically email professionals some specific information or docs from within the app if their email address is saved within the app? You can. I didn't create a report here, but let's say I put you can do that in the menu screen. Maybe I'll just save this. You can send it as an email or download it. If you send it as email, you just put the email address and it'll send this out. When I downloaded it, it actually turns it into a nice PDF, and that's what gets sent out. So I'll show you right here. So this was the report that was presented. Talked about your name, your diagnosis, your care team, medications, symptoms that you're on, and this could be emailed to your doctor. Okay. We also have the clinical trial. You can do a search for clinical trials if you want, and be reminded if there's something comes up in your search. We'll just show you here. You can do a search. I won't go through here, but you could do a search for melanoma, what country you want, be it Canada, and then if it's recruiting or not, and you can do a search, and then it'll come up. So this might come up with a huge number. So this is there's 176 studies in Canada for melanoma, and you can add that to your list. And over here, then you have a clinical trial, which you could then take to your doctor and have a conversation with. The health library allows you to add any resources you want, right? So you could take, you could upload a file, or you could pin a, let's say a Twitter feed or a Facebook group, and you could put it up here. The thing to be cautious about with the health library, that it's public. It's purposely made that because you could do a search for people with something like with your conditions and find people who are like you and find what they pinned. So it's like Pinterest, but for health. So you actually could find what other people have pinned to their health library. So the concept here is that rather than Googling for information, you're using the crowd to help you with that information. And we also have tutorials on our website. And by all means, you could call us to see if you have any questions. And if you have any questions, you either text us or call us or email. What we've done, and we're happy to do, is your own personal Zoom session where we could walk you through how to use the application. Yeah. So I'm just going to pause here. I'm going to see if there's any questions or any comments. No. Okay. So it is a very robust app. We are still in progress of improving it, especially the user experience. We welcome people to download it, start using it for their medical condition. We are going to be, we have our own landing page for people from Save Your Skin to show how it could be used in that context of skin cancer, but it could be used for any disease, any condition, even if you just want to be fit. And it's what I showed you all is free. The areas where if you want to get the premium service, it's a Caregiver Access and additional graphing. but a lot of this is available for you. And then on our website, it shows you the difference between the two. We had a question of how large is the subscription base? So we launched in June 2020. Right now, we have over 300 people who are using it. But then once we start the clinical trials, which is recruiting this month, we're looking at another 300 plus the Cancer Access program has 1,500. We also have a clinic here, the Limb Preservation Center in Peter Lougheed in Alberta, who are looking for using it for diabetic patients. I can't put a number of how many, but yeah. So as mentioning, to download the application, you could go to Zoe Insights, and you can sign up for free. You can use it. If you feel that it's not fit for purpose, then please, we really appreciate feedback on that respect, but also you could delete the application. And I'm happy to show it to you because we really want to just help people. And what I just did there is I went to the profile. This is your whole profile, right? So if you ever go to the ER, you can actually tell people, this is your medical condition, your allergies. But if you need to, you could edit the profile, and down below is you could delete the account. And when you delete it, what happens is that all your personal data is erased and unrecoverable. Right. But you could delete your account here. Okay. The question is there a free version of the app? Yes, there is a free version of the app, and I'll show you right here. This is the free version, and then there's a premium account. And the whole concept here is we really made it just to keep the lights on. It's $5 a month, and it's because of the technology and security needed for caregiver access and a few other capabilities is what you're paying for. But in the free account, you could enter the journals, which we talked about. So create those routines for, let's say, a monthly monitoring, the quick notes when you go to the doctor, you could recall that information. You could add attachments. You could create reports. You could have 2 reports and 2 graphs you could create. And you have 1 gigabyte of storage. So that's a lot of text. This would probably get filled up if you start using photos, but the premium version, you have 25 gigabytes. And this one, you have 1 gigabyte. Right. The whole concept of the premium version that you could eventually upload all your diagnostic imaging and your photos up there, and then you get to go for a second opinion, or maybe 5 years down the road, you need to have it with you and you've moved. You don't have to search for it. It's all with you. So that's the concept of the premium account is it's your health history for life. The free account is available for life as well, but it's just a smaller capacity. Okay, so if there's, I'll give it another, maybe it's 5 to 2 here in Calgary, and I'll wait for any other questions. If not, by all means, please email me. You can either email me, or you could, at Shanil@zoeinsights.com, or email support, and we'll get back to you. I think there's a, so there's a comment here, which maybe I'll read out. And I do thank you. It's I really like the idea of this app, Shanil. It's already stressful enough dealing with disease, let alone tracking everything. But this makes it easier to do that, and it always increases the quality and proactivity of the care. I'm touched and appreciate where this came from. Thank you very much. It's all built from experience, right? We're not a tech company or an app company. We really want to help people.